first session of the new year. Very cold. I think we've got 2 or 3 degrees at best today, so it's going to be quite a short one because my feet are going to be freezing. Although I've got 3 pairs of socks on and so-called thermal wellies, I think that's as much as I'm going to do. The odds are heavily stacked against us. There's been a fair bit of water come down the river, cold sleet water with a bit of snow melt in it, so not great at all really. But I've just got to get out of the house for a bit, so fishing it is. This time of the year, in adverse conditions like this, if at all possible, it's got to be rivers. Fish don't really feed that much in the winter. They don't need the calories. The cool water lowers the body temperature, and being cold-blooded, it just means that they get, you know, very short periods of activity or feeding, so they don't really need the food. Now rivers give you a better option because these fish are sort of dodging floods all the time. They're trying to find a comfortable position in the river, and when the river's up and down like it is in the winter, that's a sort of full-time job for the fish. So they are burning calories and they do need to eat. Also on the rivers I fish, I mean it varies up and down the country, but we tend to want a little bit of colour and some extra watering, not too much, just a bit, because when they sort of run clear after a prolonged sort of cold settle spell, again it can be very, very difficult. Alright, so fishing in the winter, one or two of you guys and ladies, no doubt, of a certain age, that's maybe my age and upwards, will remember the Mr. Crabtree boots. Been reprinted basically, I think in collaboration with John Bailey, but I've still got the tatty old original one somewhere. Not much left of it. I think I must have had it from being quite a small child, and I can remember that really firing my imagination for the fishing, especially coarse fishing. So one or two of you will remember it. Anyway, let's just have a look what Mr. Crabtree might do when faced with pretty adverse conditions in the winter. So how would Mr. Crabtree go about this? Right, well, to explain it to his son Peter that they're all year-round fishermen, so it's not just a question of being summer fair weather fishermen. Trouble is, it's been raining and snowing. Not very promising for fishing, Peter. There'll be a lot of water in the river, but still, shall we try? Rather, Dad. I don't care what the weather is. Oh, Mr. Beneville's imagination. Here we are. We shall probably find the river very full and thick, but there's usually something you can do. Oh dear, it does look a bit unfishable, that, doesn't it? But there we go, perfect little cattle drink at the side of the river. Little swirling eddy where all the fish are bound to be. So he proceeds to set up a worm and ledger with a drill bullet, tail of a lobworm. There we go. And of course, it doesn't take long. There goes the rod top. Something's at the bait. No strike, and it's on. Don't know what this is. Anything could turn up in this hole. And there you go. It's a roach, and a good one. £1.5. Yeah, that's not bad, I suppose. Well, I don't live on the Hampshire Avon, but to me, £1.5 roach is pretty well the fish of a lifetime, never mind not bad. Maybe it was a bit different in the 1940s and 50s. This is the imagination of Bernard Venables, great angling writer from back in the day, and the famous Mr. Crabtree books. So let's see if I can find that perfect little back eddy come cattle drink on my local river. Well, this is a pool I discovered a week or two back. In fact, well, less than 2 weeks ago actually. It was over the Christmas break. And got a perch and a roach. It looks very fast and turbulent at the moment. The river's carrying extra water, but that back eddy over there has a bit of a sort of easy flowing seam. So it's a very short bit of the pool where I might find a fish. Bread flake first, and then I think I might try a worm. A few casts with the bread flake. I'm not going to stay here long because I'm going to try the pool at the other end of the park as well. It's a bit of a problem controlling the tackle there because the current's trying to snatch that float into the faster water. That's where I want it to be, just on that bit of easy flow there. And then it gets swept away into the current proper. The bed's fallen off anyway. I think we can probably afford to go a little bit deeper. Temperatures like this, really, I need to be getting quite close to the fish if I'm going to get a bite at all. So I want to be just on the edge of that back eddy. And the foam blobs just a little bit annoying because they sort of mask that float to some extent, but I'll still know if it goes under. That's fishing just nicely there. And we've got a fish on. I think it's quite lively. I'm feeling that might be a trout holding in the current. Oh, I don't know. What the hell is this? It's a good fish, whatever it is. Don't know, I think it might be a chub. Flash of silver there. Not a bad fish. And that's on the bread. It's a chub. Yep, it's a chub. Oh, that's very welcome. On what was going to be a write-off day due to the cold. We're expecting some snow tonight. Yeah. Not a huge chub, but bigger than a chublet. Just put my hands on the mesh. Let's get a look at him. Oh, handsome fish that. I think he's already shed the hook with a slack in the net. Yeah, that'll do nicely on a freezing cold day. So, I'll get a bit more bread in. I was hoping against hope that that was going to be an enormous roach, but there we go. Holding the net upstream a bit, and away he goes. Oh, tangle up in the mesh. Look, he's gone. Nice. Oh, that's quite a result. Winter's nice because it gives you the opportunity to search for a few different species that you might not do in the summer. If you're a coarse fisherman, you're probably interested in like the carp and tench and bream walleye in the summer. Of course, roach can be caught all year round, but there's something special about the winter. They're in top form, and a lot of the time, certainly in a still water, it might be the only fish you've got a realistic chance of getting a bite from. Of course, in the rivers we've got chub, dace, and of course the roach as well. And the other sort of semi-reliable one is the good old perch. A little bit contrary, sometimes he stands you up, but now and again he'll give you some quite good sport in surprisingly cold conditions. Another nice one. Another beauty. Let's see if there's another one there. I think so, yeah, if you can find the little sheltered spots. Yeah, it's probably about sort of top limit really for fishing well. But then again, when it gets a bit clearer, it can be hard work as well, you know. Just a little back eddy across there, about 3 foot deep. And it's the only place the fish can be when you think about it. Oh, there's another something. It's not chub this time, I don't think. Thanks. Nice day, by the looks of it. There's our next fish, which is, oh, it's another chub. It's a smaller one, just about a swinger. No, it's a chub, it's a small chub. I thought it was a roach there. Good old simple bread. There you go, buddy. One thing is not to overdo the feed in the winter. Basically, what I heard an old matchman say once was feed to the bites. So if you're struggling a bit, put absolute minimum loose feed in, if any at all, just enough to hold the fish's attention. If you start getting bites quite regularly, you can probably step it up, more so in mild weather, but in the cold conditions, like I say, this soon, if they do want to feed at any time, that appetite is soon satisfied, so don't put too much in. Right, don't know if you like me improvised rod rest there. Right, first thing I'm going to try is a double maggot on this 14-eyed hook. A little bit crude for roach really, but we've got extra water, so we'll see. And if I start running into trout, I will change to bread. I might also try a worm in that slack for a perch. So let's let it run through. Now, dove down, looked like a bite. Whether it was or not, I'm not sure. I think we need to dot down a little bit. So, find another number 4. Additional number 4 shot. I'm going to put that just on the hook length. We'll wait at the bottom end and let it run through again. Holding back a bit. The edge of that hole. That's it, it's about there. A very short trot where I'm likely to get a bite. And there we are. What have we got here? Oh, that felt like a roach or a dace from the jagging. So we've got fish at home there. A few more of these maggots in. It's quite soon run out of maggots. So I think it was a proper bite I had before. Some hungry fish still, despite the cold. And this is what I mean about rivers. I think if I'd have been on the lake, I'd have been struggling to get a bite, because the roach will feed in cold water, but only for short intervals, and they don't really need the calories when they're sitting in the silt at the bottom of a lake. Different thing in a river. They're constantly sort of battling the elements to try and find a comfortable position. Certainly in the northern spate rivers like this anyway. Might be a bit different in the chalk streams where the flow's a little bit more regulated and steady. But it's a constant battle for survival, and just find somewhere where you're not going to get swept away. Tough life really for a fish. Now, just for the record, I think my makeshift rod repair to the tip seems to have worked out quite well. Doesn't seem to have affected the action or the casting or the playing of fish adversely, so that's quite a win. So a different approach. It's going to be quiver tip and it's going to be bread. A little bit of bread flake wrapped around the hook there, and a little more mashed bread going into the river. Finding its way down there, and I'm going to try and drop it just sort of to the near side of that messy snag there. That's the one bite I've had and one fish I've hooked was from there, so that would suggest that's where they are. Now watch for signs of activity on that quiver tip, which may or may not happen. I know small fish can be very difficult to catch on the tip due to them feeling the resistance on a tight line. Good thump from the big fish and you've got a good chance of hooking it, but you get a lot of little sort of nibbles and quivers that don't really develop. Interesting to see anyway. Might not get any bites at all. I think the float fishing is always the best presentation, or 99% of the time it's the right presentation if you can do it well. It certainly works for me anyway. But I've got a chance to warm my hands in my pocket and try a static bait instead of a moving one. Bit of a change to maggots and see what luck that brings us. We're getting a little bit of a rattle there on the rock top. Yep. And we've got this one, which is okay. Not surprisingly. Okay, a couple of considerations for winter fishing. One, good idea to keep moving. Two reasons for this. One, keep warm, keep your circulation up. And two, often you'll find you don't drop on the fish straight away. They don't move about a great deal in winter. They'll find a comfortable spot. And that can take some searching out, especially on a big lake. And for this reason I prefer river fishing in winter. The fish are eager, they're hungry. They have to eat. They don't get a choice of just lying in the silt on the bottom. They have to sort of cope with floods and changes of water levels. They're on the move all the time and they have to eat, so that gives you an advantage as an angler. They have to feed at some stage. So location is a key, and that's the reason for staying mobile and trying several spots. Again, another reason for moving about, just curiosity, see what's in this swim, see what the depth's like here, where it shallows off, and you'll find an awful lot out about future missions. So, and the other thing, obviously, wrap up warm, plenty of layers. If you're too hot, you can remove a layer. It's a lot easier to get to cool off than it is to get warm once you're cold in your core. If you're warm in your core, your hands might get a bit chilly now and again, but you can take some gloves with you, take them off for unhooking fish or whatever. And if you're comfortable, you'll enjoy your fishing more, and you'll probably fish better actually, because you can concentrate better. Oh, that's a bit better. Whoa, what's that? Control check here. Oh, that's a nice, it's had a nice roach for a nice. There you go, from such a gloomy outlook, you know, whether to bother or not on such a cold, miserable January afternoon, to quite an enjoyable outing, and a couple of different methods. Trusty old stick float, well, avon float, and a couple of chub. One of them quite a hard fighter, and I thought it was much larger fish actually. And a nice roach too on the quiver tip, which is not a method I use very often, but I think on this occasion, in this particular pool that I moved to, they wanted a static bait, which isn't surprising in the conditions really. They're not going to be chasing stuff around and following it down in the current to intercept it. They just want a bait they can pick up off the bottom with the minimum of effort. So there we go. If you like the content and you want to see a bit more, please consider subscribing, totally free, and I will see you on the next adventure. Not too long off actually, I hope. Bit of snow coming tonight, and I think next week we're due for milder conditions again about midweek, so with a bit of luck next weekend I should be out again. Okay, see you again soon. Bye.